Hi guys, today I'm just going to make another sit down video and just talk about something that I really had a profound experience, guys, a few nights before. Like, I'm still shocked that I was able to have that because I was able to remember one core memory I had when I was a child. I never expected that it would come in a form of a dream. Like, I had this experience that shaped me on how I think about money, about life, about relationships, about the world. I was only able to remember that incident in my life that was a trauma, that was somehow a form of a trauma. I only remembered it through a dream a few nights before. And it was really a magical experience. I was able to thank God for it. That, Lord, thank you so much that I was able to remember it, and it somehow put me now in a position that I am able now to believe more, that I am abundant, that I can do whatever I want as long as it pleases God. How did it happen? What was the content of the dream? So let me share a little story of how it happened. So the night before, oh hi, yeah, bro, bro. Wait, how did it happen? The night before, I was meditating about integrating your past self to your future self. So I meditate every night just to calm my soul, to have a short reflection about myself. I do that every night. Even when I'm asleep, I'm just going to put my phone out there, and then I'm just listening to the meditation guide while sleeping. But the night before, I was really focused on the meditation exercise, and the meditation guide made me remember the core memory. So she was saying that, okay, remember the past self, that experience in yourself, that one experience you had with yourself that somehow made you become who you are today. And during that meditation exercise, I was able to remember some memories, but I kept asking myself, like, why do I feel that this memory isn't really the core memory that made me who I am today? I was able to remember that time when I was with my teacher and I was angry at her. Somehow I was angry at her. But it was not really the core memory. I asked myself that this is not the core memory that I was looking for. And I just left it at that. Maybe I didn't try to remember anything else because it would hurt my brain. But when I fell asleep already, I had this dream where my mom entered the room and she laid down on a bed. What do you call that? This one, a bed on the floor. She was on the floor. And I began asking her, Ma, why are you crying? And then she said something. I'm just not going to say the whole thing that she said, but I remember fully what she said to me in the dream. And I remember that she cried so bad, like, I have cried that way many times in my life. Even currently, I cried a lot of times because I'm a crybaby. I just want to cry, I just want to express my emotions. But for my mom, it was very distressful. It was such a depressing, frustrating, at the same time distressful thing on my part because I never saw my mom cry that way. Somehow saw my mom crying a few tears as an adult, when I was in high school, in college, in grade school, but I never saw my mom as in cry to the max level. I never saw that with my mom ever. And she said something about my dad, and somehow the cause of her grief was because of my dad. I don't know, they were fighting at the time. And then I said, I went to my dad, and somehow I wanted to say to him, Ma, Pa, why are you hurting Mama? Why are you Why did you make mama cry? I wanted to say that to him. In my mind, I wanted to ratatat. I wanted to articulate my words. Like, I wanted to say something to him directly, like straight to the point. But then during that dream, I couldn't. I stuttered so bad. I couldn't say the words that I wanted to say to my dad. I wanted to say something to him, but I felt that I was being cut off. My dad seemed to cut me off in the middle of our conversation. So when I woke up, I felt very frustrated. I felt so distressed still that I ended up crying. Like, I was like, I was really crying. I woke up crying. I even messaged my boyfriend like, I feel sorry for mama. I feel so sorry. Upon questioning myself, like, why am I crying? Why am I crying? This is not reality. I know this is not reality. I know why am I crying? And then after figuring things out, trying to ask myself questions like, why am I crying? I was able to discover that it was not just a dream after all. It was actually an experience I had from the past. It was one of the core memories, somehow a form of a trauma that I forgot in a very long time. And then it became part of my system already, my feelings, my thoughts, my beliefs. It became part of my values, my beliefs, everything, the core of me. It became part of my system. Well, I tend to watch a lot of psychological K-dramas, and most of the storyline would be like, if you have a trauma, and I discovered this with a lot of psychological movies and a lot of what do you call that? I've learned part in the psychology that if you have a trauma as a child, you tend to forget it. And the only way for you to heal somehow is to be able to remember that core memory and say that this is not part of you anymore. That you're able to forgive that child that wanted to protect something before. You're able to forgive yourself. And somehow that trauma, that incident, I forgot it. And it became part of my system. It became part of my values, my beliefs, about my relationships, money, about life, about how I was limited. Because recently, I really asked myself, like, why am I like this, Lord? Even in this pandemic, when you're just sitting at home, you tend to ask a lot of questions about yourself. You get to know more of yourself in this pandemic. So that's one thing that I could appreciate in this pandemic is we are able now to think of things that matters to us, and I was able to think about my identity. Like, Lord, why am I like this? Why does it seem that every time I watch YouTube videos about growth, about limitless potential, why do I not somehow believe it? I know for a fact, in the head level alone, in the mind level, in the thought level alone, that God is very abundant. I know for a fact that God can make things happen, that you're abundant, that you're limitless, but why do I have something that is holding me back? Why is there something that stops me from truly 100% believe that I am abundant? And that was because of my trauma as a child. That incident shaped my beliefs when it comes to being limited. I felt so limited for a very long time. I don't know if I'm going to feel still that way even after that dream. Maybe I still have a lot of traumas before as a child that I forgot. But somehow that dream became part of my emotional healing, that I was able to realize that that child wanted her mom and dad to be okay. She wanted a complete family still. She wanted to make her mom happy. She was very distressed why her mom isn't happy. And then I got to think my child self. Like, I said to my child self that you did well. You did something for your family. You did well. I know it was not perfect. I know that you weren't able to speak the words that you wanted to say, but you did well. You are a magnificent child, and you are such a smart child. You're such a loving child. You care so much for your mom, and you care so much for your family. And I'm thankful that you did that. I'm thankful that you gave the initiative to say something to your dad. And somehow I hugged when I woke up already. This is when I woke up already. Somehow I imagine myself like being a child and embracing the child I still have from within. Like, it's okay. You're in a good place now. You're an adult now. You have endless possibilities. You felt limited before, and that beliefs that you got might have helped you before in order to protect yourself from the trauma. But now you're in a good place. Now you still have a big future ahead of you. And that's what I felt. After the dream, I felt so free. It's like there's this burden inside of me that let go out into the open world. I felt so happy being able to remember that incident because it brought freedom, the feeling of freedom. And I now realize that I'm not going to let money hold me back to my dreams. That I know that I could make fulfilling relationships, that even other people would hurt me, I'm still going to love them anyways. Because that incident really shaped me with my relationships. I have this tendency to feel distant, especially when it comes to my friends. I have this tendency to, every time someone hurts me or I feel being ignored, I somehow say to myself like, who cares? Like, oh, and I would want to get away. I have that tendency in me. If someone hurts me, I tend to go away. Even just one incident, I can't seem to maintain my relationships, especially when it comes to my friends. It's different when it comes to family, but when it comes to friends, I tend to move away. And I think that incident was also one of the reasons why I get scared talking to adults. Like before, when I was in high school and college, I often get jealous when my classmates would talk to the teachers freely and that they don't get shy, they feel confident talking to them. But me, I don't get closer to adults that much because of that trauma, that what if I'm going to be cut off, or especially when I'm talking also with my friends, I feel that I cut off the conversation before they cut me off. You know what I mean? I cut off the conversation, I keep silent in myself, and I feel anxious when I'm talking to people one-on-one because what if they're gonna cut me off and then they would just leave me hanging. So that's why I become silent most of the times when I'm with another person. Somehow moving forward with my life, I know that I can become who I want to be as long as it is under God's grace. And somehow I'm learning to believe now that I am limitless, that God can make endless possibilities for me. I could serve the world, that I could be me, that I could be a better version of me. And I could be confident that the dream life that I want is somehow getting close to me. You know what I mean? So that was such a profound experience. If you want to have that profound experience, I suggest you keep asking a lot of things to yourself. That's what I did over the years. I kept asking, like, for the span after I graduated college, I began asking myself a lot of questions. I began to be self-aware. And also, I suggest you meditate and also pray and ask God to show you who you are and to show that you have this limited mindset that you need to change. You need to ask God that, you need to ask the universe, you need to ask the creator, the source. Yeah, you somehow need to meditate because that would be the catalyst. I suggest you try out Rising Higher meditation. I'll be putting the link on the description box below of the meditation exercise that I did through knowing that experience, but it's not gonna happen directly. I did a lot of meditation exercises, but it's not gonna be direct that you're going to be able to remember it. Somehow it would take days and months and even years for you to be able to discover it, but meditation is one of the catalysts for you to discover more of yourself and your life and how you are limitless, that you are actually very powerful, that you are actually very blessed about a lot of things. So yeah, meditate, pray, be self-aware. Anyways, this has been Krizia. I hope that you had a fun time hearing my story, and yeah, God bless you everyone. See you soon. God bless you. Yeah.